All right, our next bout, it's bout number 5, presented by Chips Transmissions, a welterweight bout, and it's at 147. It's Skyler the Cobra Carson taking on Nick Haymaker Baker. Carson at 2-0, Baker at 6-6. That's our next bout, 3 2-minute rounds in our kickboxing bout. Guys, what do you think about this one? And we'll talk about it in 1 second. Back to the cage. Here's Jennifer Oxendine.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is brought to you by Chips Transmissions. This is a kickboxing match in the welterweight division. First, out of the red corner, please welcome to the cage, Skyler Carson.
All right, headed to the cage. First is Skyler the Cobra Carson. He's 2-0 with 1 knockout. He fights out of Hurricanes House of Pain, Williamsburg, Kentucky. The 19-year-old stands at 6'1". What do you think about Skyler the Cobra Carson?
You know anything about Skyler there, Sawyer?
You know, I mean, he's going up against Nick Baker. I'm actually fighting Nick Baker in 2 months, so, I mean, it's going to be entertaining for me regardless.
Well, let's talk about Nick Baker. Nick is 6-6, and as you guys know, he's been willing to fight a lot of different guys. He's been willing to fight anybody, and he's had a long list of really tough fighters. Sawyer Rich is next in that long list of tough fighters. He's out of the F5 MMA camp in Morristown, Tennessee. 5'9", 24-year-old. Sawyer, you're going to fight him next. What are your thoughts on Nick Baker?
I mean, he hits real hard. You know, he's looking for that one shot highlight reel. You know, always not looking to knock your teeth down your throat. He goes for it. He's an entertainer. I like to go for it, stand up. It should be a really entertaining fight.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Nick Baker is I really, you know, become good friends with Sawyer, and Sawyer has you know, started to train with us and things like that as well. But you know, Nick Baker is one of the guys that I've always liked since he started fighting. I just like that he gets out there and fights. You know, you have so many fighters that pick and choose, and Nick has fought every single tough top-tier fighter there is that has come up through the ranks. You know, he's 6-6 as a kickboxer. His record is he's probably had 20 or 25 MMA fights. You know, the kid has a ton of experience, but he's just not had the training to back all that up at sometimes, or the cardio.
It's odd for me because I really like Nick Baker as a person, and I've never really liked anyone like I do him that I'm going to fight. It's odd. So.
And he's trained by James Stevens right now, former Valor kickboxing champion. Last time out, lost to Doug Williams in MMA by unanimous decision. That was in our last broadcast. That was at Apex 7. Prefers to strike. You guys have talked about it. Always been very entertaining, and the number 6 featherweight in the rankings right now on Valor Fights, and he was on this year's Contender Promotions. He is the North American Grand Prix tournament. Now, Skyler the Cobra Carson is trained by Jimmy Haynes, 18-5 boxing record.
Yeah, he's got some really good hands. He fought in Crossville on a card that I fought on. Yeah. He looked really good.
Yeah, we did see him there, tall, rangy, and so there's a good chance we're going to see some fireworks in this one. 2 guys willing to throw. All right, back to the cage.
Bring it. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, please welcome to the cage, Nick Baker.
And Nick Baker, you know, he's coming out. He's fighting out of F5 still. And he is you know, one of the top tier. As we talked about, he's fought everyone. You know, he's an excellent fighter, and as long as he brings some cardio, he always comes out with some wild punches. He always comes out with some wild kicks, and you know, definitely he lives up to his nickname as in Haymaker, because he does throw a lot of them, and that's why so many fans like Nick Baker, is because he goes out there and he fights. You know, he goes out there and gives the fans what they want to see, which is sometimes the fans like to see a good slug fight. You know,
I mean, if he lands that, you know, I mean, he hits pretty hard, whatever. You know,
he has knockout power.
Nick Baker making his way to the cage right now. Primetime, talk about how you think that from a strategy standpoint this might play out.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you have Nick that is doing such a good job in and being in all the fights, like you never just see him just get demolished. Like you never see him, just get ran over by anyone. But at the same time, he's got to get in there. He's got to have that cardio, Sawyer, to keep him going in the later rounds, because that's been his downfall, in my opinion, is his ground game and a little bit of his cardio. So what do you think?
I think, you're in an MMA fight with Nick Baker. I think that, you put him on the fence, you take away his distance, because he's always going to throw that big shot. He's looking for it the entire fight. Yeah. And he's not slowing. His cardio's a factor, but he comes forward, man.
Yeah, Nick's somebody that I've trained with, and he comes up and trains with us every now and then, and he talks about how he's working on his jiu-jitsu, and now he's going back to kickboxing. So, I mean, I don't know if he's took a different approach to it or just,
Man, I like stand-up better.
Yeah, he may like stand-up better.
We've got so much more on the way here tonight at Valor Fights 25. We're in Pigeon Forge for Gold here tonight. I'm Vince Ferrara along with Adam Primetime Townsend and Sawyer Rich, who is the next opponent in MMA for Nick Baker, who is entering the cage right now and will be the opponent for Skyler the Cobra Carson, who we saw at Apex 7. More kickboxing on the way, MMA, and much more. Reminder, you can follow Valor Fights on Twitter at Valor Fights, and Valor Fights on Facebook as well. ValorFights.com has everything, the whole list of upcoming promotions, MMA news, fighters that are signing on with Valor Fights.
Very nice.
Tremendous website.
My teammate Dustin Long just signed on with them. I saw that. Yep. Didn't even know that. I saw it on Facebook. I gave him a phone call. I was like, hey, why am I having to read about this in the press, So
where's the text when you need it?
I was signed before I signed with the RFA. I was also signed with Valor. It was 3FC at the time, but same thing. And they just do a great job. He does such a good job increasing your pay, increasing your commission, and not only that, but providing you the right fights that you need in order to take a step to the Bellator, RFA, UFC, those steps. And now he's had one fighter come through that just fought. Scott Holtzman down in Nashville that just fought, and he's having success. And I'm doing all right with the RFA and got a fight coming up with him. So. Very good promotion.
What does that mean to local and regional MMA to have the UFC in the state so close?
It's just incredible. They hadn't been there in so long, and to put somebody on the card, especially the main event, someone that truly trains in Knoxville. You have a lot of Scott Holtzman. He goes out and he don't train here. He trains away from here at the MMA lab. It's just really cool that Ovens is still here, and that's what I hope to do too. When I get to the big show, is I hope that I'm still going to be at D Evil, and I'm still going to be in Johnson City training and being able to compete at a high level at my local gym.
And their camps are represented here, both of them still here in nearby in Knoxville. And Nick Baker is ready to go, enters the cage. Our official introductions. Let's go to Jennifer Oxendine in the cage.
This bout is scheduled for 3 2-minute rounds. First, out of the red corner, he holds a record of 2 wins and 0 defeats. Representing Hurricanes House of Pain in Williamsburg, Kentucky, he weighed in at 149 pounds. Please put your hands together for Skyler, the Cobra Carson! And his opponent in the blue corner, he holds a record of 6 wins and 6 defeats. Representing F5 in Morristown, Tennessee, he weighed in at 155 pounds. Give it up for Nick, the Haymaker Baker! Your referee for this fight, Josh Ward.
Josh Ward, our referee for this kickboxing bout, 3 2-minute rounds presented by Chips Transmissions. It's a welterweight #1 contender bout at 147 in the black trunks with the green trim, Skyler the Cobra Carson, and in the black trunks with the red trim and turquoise tape, it's Nick Haymaker Baker.
Ooh, nice spinning back kick from Baker.
Oh, good shots.
You could have announced it as the farmer's tan and not the farmer's tan.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
I like it, though, Nick. You're rocking it well, buddy.
Must have been mowing.
Yeah.
Don't have time to fully tan when you're training.
No, not at all. A lot of guys go to the enough about that. A lot of guys go to the gym tan laundry here.
Nice front kick there from Nick. Yeah. Superman punch attempt.
Yeah, Nick's doing a good job. Both of them doing a good job. You have the southpaw here for Skyler, and Nick is fighting orthodox. Nick does switch his stance up every now and then. Look for a high kick from either one of them because that's what's open. A very nice inside leg kick from Nick Baker, and a
good
beautiful
shot.
body shot.
Good shot.
Carson connected on that one.
A lot of times the kicks that smack ain't the ones that they sting, but they don't hurt.
Still hurt.
Yeah, but you hear a good thud. That's when you know you've got a good body shot like that one.
Well done with the left by Carson.
Yep. Nick very comfortable. Both fighters very comfortable there. Both have good experience.
The
Good
jab
body kick.
in kickboxing as opposed to regular boxing, it's the same approach. You want to use that to set other things
exactly.
up. Right?
Especially more so in kickboxing, I believe, because a lot of guys, they just go out there and they one punch and one kick. They go out there and throw a hard kick or and they end up getting checked or countered or whatever. If you set up your jab or your other right hand and throw a kick, that adds a lot of spice to your game.
Baker saw that Carson was off balance after a kick attempt, charged in, but could not connect with anything as we're down to the final 15 seconds in round number 1. Stuck the jab, did Carson there. Final 10 seconds now.
Spinning back kick. Baker going forward here to end the fight with in the round, with a good exchange here.
He did the same thing. He saw after a kick attempt, he saw he was off balance and tried to take advantage of it. Who would you give that first round to, guys? Sorry.
I don't know, man. Carson's, he's sticking that jab in his face. He's doing real good with that. I think Nick's throwing more, to be honest with you. I give it 10 on Nick.
What do you think, Prime Time?
Yeah, I can agree. Nick come forward and he had a little flurry there at the end as well. And here's a replay of it. Maybe we'll see right here. You get good left hand
good
there from Skyler. Staying long and rangy. He's a lot longer than Nick, as we done talked about. And Nick threw a very nasty inside leg kick there, and then he comes back with his own to the body. So the good exchanges from both fighters. Like I said, it's just as far as what you're scoring for. I go on aggression, and I think Nick was a little bit more aggressive there at the end. So
could go either way.
Yeah.
So if you're Carson, what would your strategy be against Nick here in round number 2 if he did, in fact, lose that first round?
My strategy would be to put him on the fence and just break off and land combinations. Nick Baker don't like to be frustrated. He likes being in the center of the ring. And
very good points.
This is a 147-pound welterweight number 1 contender bout in this kickboxing bout. Carson weighed in at 149, Baker at 155 in weigh-ins yesterday.
Nick's known to flake on his weight every now and then, but when you fought that much, Nick works a full-time job and things like that too. So it's sometimes a little bit harder to do the weight, but you got to be professional. No excuses.
Carson charged in, another front kick from Baker. Return.
I'm about to say return from Skyler there. Ooh, see how he kind of faded that little hand roll there to a back outside kick.
Good shots.
Yeah. Nick's kind of waiting on him to come in so he can counter. Nick would move his head and get in. Now Nick's in the southpaw stance.
I'm waiting on that big loop and shot when he comes in.
I'm still feeling each other out here a little bit.
It's interesting when guys go on flurries early.
There it is.
Oh, wow.
Here comes the haymaker.
Guys go on flurries, and then during the fight, once they're already gone in, then they start to kind of reset.
Yeah. Yeah, they go out there and they get them rattle off the first 50 punches and say, okay, let's slow this down. I've got a little, another 2 rounds to go.
Can't do this all night.
No.
Oh,
nice.
Exchange
Slip.
kicks. Yep.
No knockdown.
Josh Ward reset him. Clock continues to
Oh.
run.
I've seen this 3 times tonight too, and just you see how Skyler there has the traditional karate shin guards, and them things don't have a lot of padding on them at all. Nick's got them big, heavy shin guards on. Every fighter that's doing kickboxing is to wear the lightest pair of shin guards they could find.
And Nick's padding is slid off to the side.
Yeah.
So it's not even protecting his shin anymore.
That's a good thing for Nick and a bad thing for Skyler.
Yeah, that's true. Now, what happens if you connect without the padding there? That's a difference maker.
I've never seen. I mean, a big difference. I don't know what you do from a referee or a judging standpoint, but it's going to be a big difference in power.
Skyler did a nice job there. You can see he was working the body and then went upstairs. A pretty nice combination from him. He looked pretty good with his hands in that round.
Yeah. He done a lot better that round. I would definitely give that round here to Skyler. So in my eyes, we've got it at 1 round apiece here going into the 3rd round. And, this is the 2 minutes left in the 3rd round. You've got to give it all that you can. And I look for Nick to come out and be a little bit more wild, and Skyler as well, to see if Tristan might get a finish.
Take a look at the replay here. Sorry, take us through this. What do you see?
You know, I mean, Skyler's landing good kicks here. I think Skyler's putting a lot better combinations together than Nick Baker. Nick Baker's looking for that one, haymaker Baker, that shot, and he hasn't been able to find it yet. They're both landing good shots, though.
I couldn't have said it any better. You said exactly right. Nick's kind of waiting on that one power punch, and Skyler's kind of throwing, head, body.
Nick has been waiting to counter all night.
Yeah.
What would you tell Nick if he lost that second round as 1-1? What would you tell him? Combinations?
I would definitely tell him to go out there, and this is anybody's fight at this point in my eyes. You don't know how the judges scored it, but Nick's over there dancing, and both of them are jocking on each other. So let's see what happens here.
Carson in the black and green, Baker in the black with a red trim.
I'd be telling both of them to go for it.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And if it was 1-1 on the judges' scorecard, nice Superman punch attempt by
Hey,
Baker.
that inside leg
shot,
kick
good
has been ripping all night for Baker. He needs to throw it again. Set it up with a punch. A
Oh.
wheel kick.
Caught it. Good Carson.
Another inside from Baker.
Carson's corner telling him to go, be aggressive.
Good right hand from Baker. Slipped 2 punches and landed a nice right hand. There you go. Nix has been a little bit more aggressive I'd like to see.
Throwing those haymakers for sure.
This is what will win the round for Baker right here.
Yeah.
Put him on the fence, being more aggressive.
Yep. But at the same time, Nick should have stepped off and threw punches instead of staying clinched with him.
Yep.
Return to the inside leg kick there.
Carson was a good shot.
Don't stop, man. Don't stop.
Corner telling Carson to keep going.
Oh, went south the glove there. 50 seconds left in the fight.
Get in there and eat him up. He ain't got no hands.
Carson. Both guys taking their time here. We're getting final 40 seconds of the
Somebody
fight.
needs to go for it right here.
Yeah.
Might win the fight.
Yeah, most definitely will.
Like we said earlier in another fight, this is the last thing the judges see.
Yep.
And there goes Baker, backs Carson in, but he gets out of the cage.
With 25 seconds left, Baker definitely needs to be going forward right here. In my eyes,
good
whoever
body
wins
shot.
this, possibly whoever wins this last 20 seconds right here could possibly win the fight.
Baker pushes it, he'll win.
Yep. There he goes.
Because that aggression
Just
could be
walk
in his
forward.
favor, too.
Yep.
10 seconds.
Here we go. And jab.
Put him down, Skyler.
Now the urgency. Baker gets caught coming in.
Hey, kick. Oh. Superman with the bail at the buzzer.
Wow.
He tries to
So
throw a three-pointer up.
Primetime, who'd you give that third round to?
Definitely Nick Baker. I definitely think the fight should go 29-28. 2 rounds, first and third to Baker, and second round here to Skyler. Very good fight, very good performance. We never know how judges are going to score, but Sawyer, it was one of the things that Nick should have done at the first was come forward and didn't. Here's a replay.
Yeah. I mean, you give Nick Baker this fight. I mean, I do. Of course, we haven't heard the official decision yet, but I mean, based on cage control and aggression, man. I mean, he's pressing the fight the whole time and throwing more shots.
We'll replay here that nasty inside leg kick that Nick was throwing, and Skyler would return in hand, little overhand left right there from him. Very entertaining fight though. There was a lot more. Both of them was a lot more calm than I thought they was going to be, especially in a 6-minute kickboxing fight.
How much different is it going from training for an MMA bout versus kickboxing?
I would say not a ton as far as for kickboxing. Now, just going to straight boxing, I've done that, and it's a big difference because, in MMA every day I'm practicing kicks and punches and takedowns. So you can just take, the takedowns and the jiu-jitsu away. It's not that hard, but when you take, everything but the punches away and the way that you move and angle and all that things like that, that makes a lot different. But, it shouldn't be nothing major for these two guys. They both put on a heck of a performance.
Sawyer, what do you think?
As far as like training for a kickboxing bout versus MMA bout, my stand-up is just based around avoiding the takedown. And, in a kickboxing fight, you can commit to every shot. Got to worry about that takedown. So, I mean, I think it's different,
Did you take anything away? Did you take anything away from this for your next fight with
I mean, I was definitely watching. I mean, I think I have a solid game plan for this. I feel good.
All right, let's go to the cage for our official decision.
We go to your judges for a decision. Your first judge scores this fight 29-28 out of the red corner. Your second judge scores this fight 30-28 out of the blue corner. For your winner, 29-28 out of the red corner,
Oh, wow.